What's up everyone, this is Miss Red's Wrenching, and today we're going to talk about mistakes I have made in the automotive industry. So we're just going to go ahead and kick it off. I have a list. We'll make this short and sweet. And the whole purpose of making this is just I want you guys to understand that if you get into this field, you're going to make mistakes. It's part of the business. It's part of growing as a technician and experience, yada yada, right? So, to start off, obviously, I have had a few drain bolts that I have had loose that I forgot to tighten down, and honestly, a lot of these that I'm going to be sharing with you are mistakes that I made at the past shop that I worked at, which these mistakes are not the reason that I no longer work there, okay? It was just better prospects and personal reasons that I went to the shop I currently work at, so. But, obviously, drain bolts. Thank God I've never blown up a motor because of it. Knock on wood. Also, there was a time where there was a cracked Toyota filter housing, and I replaced it, not thinking to check there's like a section where it's almost like a drain bolt, I guess. I did not torque that down because I just assumed, since it came in the housing, that it was properly torqued when they sent it out from the factory where it was made, but it was not, so it was a lovely little comeback. And now I know that you always make sure that parts are torqued, even if they're like part of a bigger part, like a smaller part of a bigger part. Always make sure that those are torqued, because now you know. It's better to double check than to assume and be wrong. So, also, one of my first weeks at this past shop that I worked at, I cross-threaded / galded like 8 lug nuts. I galded some and found out like a couple months later when they came back for their other tire rotation that I had galded them, which means that they essentially go all the way down, but because of the friction and the studs were probably a bit dirty, as well as the lug nuts, so the friction, they pretty much just get all messed up. And yeah, so I thought I only messed up like 5 of them, like a whole wheel. I ended up cross-threading. I was like, how did I do this? It's just inexperience, stupidity. I thought I turned them enough by hand, and I didn't. So now I always make sure, you learn from it, I always make sure that my lug nuts are down enough to where I know that they're not galded or cross-threaded or anything like that, and now I have no problems. So, live and learn. Another time, I was helping out a master tech while I wasn't busy, and I hooked back up the hoses for transfer flush, and I didn't properly put down the clamp, and I went and test drove it for him after doing the flush and found that there was a little bit of trail of tranny fluid behind me. Immediately shut the car off, went and looked, found that I had not put the clamp down far enough on the hose. It blew the hose off, and I was covered in gravel and tranny fluid from wiggling under the car, not having it jacked up. Thank God for baby hands and tiny arms, because I just wiggled my way in there and hooked it all back up while on the ground. It was a complete mess, and just walked back to the shop to get the tranny fluid to fill it back up to drive it back to the shop, because I didn't know how much fluid I lost. I knew I lost a lot, but I wasn't sure exactly how much I lost, so just to play it safe, I didn't drive it until I filled it back up. Another mistake I made was I also cross-threaded an O2 sensor into a cat. It was, the cat was so rusty when I was putting it in, I just thought it was being rough because it was rusty threads that I was threading the O2 sensor into, but I ended up apparently cross-threading it. So, it is what it is. Had to tap that out, but again, lesson learned, it is what it is. And then, of course, there was a time where I did forget to add oil to a car. Thank God I was watching the oil pressure light, because it didn't go out, and I was like, fudge, like immediately turn it off, go and add oil. Thank God, motor's totally fine, no mistakes. But, and honestly, these are quite small mistakes, because, like, I've never blown up a motor or killed a tranny or done anything catastrophic or detrimental to the vehicle, so knock on wood. I have a little guardian angel watching over me. But, I've never made some of those bigger mistakes yet. And I only say that because some of the best technicians I know have just made simple mistakes or big mistakes because they're human. They have a crazy busy day and they overlook something or forget something or what have you. It's just part of the business and part of not beating yourself up over little things. And You know, I'm making this video because I want to be authentic. I want people to know what it's like to work in the industry, and part of working in the industry and doing this all the time is you will make a mistake. So, you know, it is what it is, and for some of you experienced people that might be watching this, y'all can laugh at my little mistakes, but it's okay, because as long as you learn from them, that's the important part. Learning from your lessons, not making them again, and bettering yourself for the future. So, hope you guys can take something away from this, whether it's funny or gives you a little bit of hope in yourself if you've made quite a few mistakes. You know, don't give up, keep it trucking, and, you know, thanks for watching. So if you like this video, like and subscribe, and yeah, so I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.